Look, for years they've been telling us to think outside the box. For the next hour plus, we're going to think on top of the darn thing. What do you think? We have to, because this world is changing. And if you're going to continue to serve your clients and the people that ought to be your clients, you and I have to change too. We got to keep changing and keep growing. If in the last year you had the joy of coming into your family a child or a grandchild, please raise your hand. Ooh, it's a lot of folk. Serious scientists are starting to suspect that the life expectancy of those children born in the developed world in the last year. Now, this is a regulated industry, so I want to be very clear what I just did and did not say. I said starting to suspect. I didn't say they're predicting it. I didn't say they're projecting it. And I certainly didn't say they're guaranteeing it. They're saying it just might be. But I did say serious scientists, not the National Enquirer or the Globe. Are you ready? 140. 140-year lifespan? And at 120, they just might be the way we are today at 60. Now, if that sounds completely implausible to you, understand that 60 today is nothing like what 60 was just a few years ago. Life expectancy in the United States of America in 1900, the beginning of the 20th century, depends on whose numbers you look at, but most settle around the number 47. By the end of the century, it was approaching 80. If you are 65 today and in perfect health, your life expectancy is probably over 90. Anecdotally, my grandmother died in 1963. She was 63 when she died. And you know what the family said? Lived a good life. Today, somebody dies at 63, and are we not shocked that they would die that young? Now, this is the millennium dream of humankind, long life, fountain of youth. Be careful what you dream for. Is there anybody in this room who two things? At one point in your life, you had a dream of getting a boat. And two, you actually got one. Please raise your hand. Keep up a second. Keep up now. Hold them. Now, did the dream include cleaning that thing? Some people like that. How about writing checks to it? Was that part of the dream? So we get the dream of humankind, long life, fountain of youth. What's in trouble? What's in trouble? Come on, there's one government program already trouble. We live that long. It's really in trouble, please. Social Security. The longest chain letter ever written blows up. What else in trouble? Health care? How about things like this? In this part of Connecticut, we don't want just anybody moving in. So if you're going to build here, you have to buy 4 acres. Can you have that kind of public policy in metropolitan New York City with that many people on the planet? Or San Francisco, you can't build there. It would disturb my view. Can you have that kind of public policy? And how about relationships? You are going to get married at 22 and stay with this person 118 years? Or worse, get married at 22, divorced at 41, and pay alimony for 99 years? And then we talk about the sandwich generation, the generation sandwich between parents and children. I'm 120 years old. My 140-year-old parents are living with me. The 100-year-old kids just moved back in. With their kids and their kids and their kids. Come on. So we can have some fun with it. Actually, I'm not going to really continue to speak from here. I'm going to go over there. The problem is to get there, I got to get off the box, and some of you may think I left the room, but I'm still here. In this, we can have fun with it, but in this incredibly changing world, it's tough to know what to do. It's tough to decide what to do. Do you know what you should do? Do you know what you should do? You? Do we know? Now look, the definitive answer to that question is about what? Do I know what I should do about what? So let's take something real easy, or at least it used to be. You want to go to the movies tonight? Now when I grew up, that was a yes or no answer. There was one theater. Sometimes it had a double billing, but there was one theater. Yes, I want to go. No, I don't. I live in Boulder, Colorado, a small city. Within 15 minutes of my house, there are 46 screens. The last time I looked, they were playing 17 different movies. I need an advisor to help me pick a movie. You want to go get something to eat? That used to be a yes or no. But now would you like Brazilian, Ethiopian, Moroccan? I need an advisor to go out to dinner. And when it comes to health, and when it comes to the complicated technologies out there around health, and when it comes to law, and when it comes to tax, as you so well know, and spiritual and psychological issues, we need advisors. And when it comes to money, people need advice. They need advice from great advisors. They need advice from qualified advisors. And to use the term that was used yesterday, they need advice from elite advisors. But what makes a great advisor? What makes an elite advisor? In the book, Questions Great Financial Advisors Ask, in preparing it, my co-author Dave Richmond and I talked to a lot of advisors, and we came up with a list of what we think makes a great advisor. So let's look at some of the attributes of a great advisor. Great advisors know investing, and they know it well. But that's table stakes. They know their clients. They put their clients first. They act professionally. What do I mean by act professionally? I had a woman who read the book, wrote me a note saying, I've been a successful advisor for years. My husband died, and hospice was wonderful. And I became a passionate advocate for hospice. So I got on my local hospice board. And one of my duties on the hospice board is, all the board members, when people bring somebody into hospice, they get to meet with a board member who helps them navigate the system. Becomes, in effect, their hospice advisor. I didn't do it as a marketing plan. I did it because I cared about hospice. I never thought I would get clients out of it. But all of a sudden, these families want to be my client. And I realized when I read the book that it was because I acted differently. When prospects came to my office, I would start, even though I was subtle and I was laid back, I would start selling. Talking about me, talking about what we do and what our process is. But now, I don't talk about that. When hospice people came in, I'd sit back and say, what's the problem? How can I help? What can I do for you? And all of a sudden, they want to be my clients. Act professionally. Get the emotion out. Do you agree with this statement? The vast majority of investment mistakes are not mistakes of the intellect. They are mistakes below the neck. They are emotional mistakes. What do you think? The vast majority of mistakes are emotional mistakes, not intellectual mistakes. So a big part of being an advisor is to get, or at least reduce, the amount of emotion in the investment process. That's a big part of what you do. But how to do that? How do you do that? We got to narrow it down. I started as an analyst, so one of the reasons I love coming to Vest is because all of you have a numbers background first before you got into being an advisor, being a salesperson. And that was the story of my career. And I drove myself crazy. I was working on Wall Street, and I'm looking for the answer. I'd be up all night, a lot of nights, using those numbers and looking for the answers. And one night I'm sitting there, I never found an answer. I'm sitting there, I'm working my tail off, and up comes one of the legendary advisors, the big boss. And he says, what are you doing, Alan? I said, I'm looking for the answer. He said, you won't find it in there. I said, what? He said, Alan, analysis is critical. Analysis is so important, but analysis will never give you the answer. The purpose of analysis isn't to give you the answer. It is to narrow down the area in which you guess. But in the end, do not kid yourself. In the end, you are guessing. Now, it's critical to guess here, not here. But in the end, you're guessing. Another way of saying that is that the final investment decision, almost always, is not made in the numbers. It's made below the neck, in the heart, in the stomach, in the core. That's where it happens.